But they invited me to church, and after I refused, the Lord allowed me to be incarcerated for a short period of time. And while I was there, I made a vow to the Lord and said, Lord, one more chance. And after I come out of this, I'll never turn around on you. I'll walk with you, and I'll talk with you. And just one dose of the Holy Ghost. No more drugs and no more alcohol, and I can say like King, I'm free at last. But meanwhile, y'all, back at the ranch, you see how that Moses had asked God about the response and asked him who he was, and God said, you go and tell them that I am. Can I preach for a little while? And God answered him with the I am, and God told him who he was and what he wanted to tell, what he wanted him to tell them. But I know that in the mind of Moses, as he went down into the land of Egypt and he started to see the hand of God, it caused him to have more questions than he had before. He had even inquired of God who he was. Since you've been saved, have you ever watched the marvelous, miraculous hand of God as it leads you and guides you? It's almost like in the days of Lone Ranger. Anyone remember Lone Ranger? After Lone Ranger had come in and done his thing and rode out of town, on the way out, someone would ask a question because they were marveled at what the Lone Ranger had done. Someone would ask the question, who was that masked man? And you ask yourself the question, who is this God that just keeps on blessing in spite of everything that we do? Who is this God that continues to have mercy upon us? Who is this God that continues to share his grace upon us? Who is this God that is the illuminator of the whole world? Who is this God that is too powerful to be stopped? Who is this God that's everywhere and big enough and a great enough spirit to endow everyone that would choose to walk with him? Who is this God that keeps the lights turned on in heaven? Who is this God that makes sure that the sun rises in the east every day? Who is this God? What is it about him? What is his name, and what is his son's name? He's a mighty God. He's a mighty good God. He's a mighty strong God. He's a mighty powerful God. He's a mighty God. Put your hands together and give the Lord. Yes, and how God, he's talking, and he's already let Moses know, and Moses is projecting everything that God told him to project upon Pharaoh. And he's working miracles, and how many believe that God is still in the miracle working business? If you don't believe that he's still working miracles, every morning when you get up, just stand in the mirror. And what you're looking at is not just you, but what you're looking at is a miracle of God. And so miraculous until the songwriter asked the question, what is man that God has been so mindful of him? Every day, God shuts you down at the end of the day and restarts your computer, which is your mind, every morning. He allows you to lay motionlessness in the bed, and then causes you to get up in the morning and you're mobile all over again. He causes you to open those eyes that have been closed all night long. Can focus and see enough where your eyes will send a brain signal or a signal to your brain and tell you what it is that you're looking at. What a mighty God we serve questions that come to mind, and some of those questions I put down on paper. When we start to think about God, one of the things that we think about is, where did God come from? Did God just appear out of nowhere? Did God just pop up out of nowhere? No, God didn't just pop up out of nowhere. And the reason why I say this is because God was before there was nowhere. God has always been and will always be. Y'all gotta go talk to me. We look at ourselves and we're asking ourselves the question, how does God sustain himself? If God is a spirit and a spirit does not eat and a spirit does not drink. But that doesn't satisfy us, because then we're asking, why is it that God doesn't eat, and why is it that God doesn't drink? And if God doesn't eat and if God doesn't drink, then how is it that God remains so powerful? And the reason is, and the answer is because God is self-sustaining. He doesn't need anything to energize him. Oh, God is energy. He's the one that gives us energy. And so then we ask the question, God, on the finish to answer, God came out of nowhere. He was before nowhere, but he came from nowhere. If you can get a hold of what I'm saying, then how did God create the stuff that he created? Well, he ex nihilo everything that he created out of nothing. Well, where did God get the nothing from? And God got the nothing from nowhere. And only God can get nothing from nowhere and make something. Y'all not going to talk to me, but I'm going to preach anyhow. And then we go on and ask more questions of God. We ask God, can you lie? And the answer is, God can't lie. We ask the question, can God die? And the answer is, God cannot die. Can God be in the dark? I guess God can't be in the dark, because he declared that he was the way, the truth, and the life. I'm not going to talk to you, but I'm going to preach anyhow. Does God ever end, or does God ever stop being? And the answer is no, God never ends. And God never will stop being, because he declared that I'm Alpha and Omega. I'm the beginning and the end. There was nothing before me, and neither shall there be anything after me. Remember, I am the great I am. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Then we ask, if God improve? God cannot improve. God is the only anything without any potential at all. God cannot get bigger. God cannot get stronger. God cannot get wider. God cannot get wiser. God is the ultimate of everything that he is. He's omnipresent. He's omnipotent. He's omniscient. Then you ask the question, can God get wiser? No, God can't get wiser. God is already smarter than smart. He's more brilliant than brilliant. He has all of the answers to any question that might arise. I wonder, have I got a witness out there? Can he feel up everything? Is he really omnipresent? And I sure you notice today he is everywhere. At the same time, in Germany and in Russia, he's in Japan, he's in China, he's in Korea, he's in Africa, he's in North Africa and South Africa, he's in Indiana, in Chicago, he's in Milwaukee and LA. He covers the immensity of space, which means when you go to sit down, you got to declare, like the psalmist when he asked the question, where can I go from that presence? If I take the wings of the morning and fly to the utmost parts So look to where